This is Scott Kaplan and Crew Tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio. SoCal Sports Talk. Here's Scott Kaplan, Alex Padilla, and John Browner.
All right, great friends. We welcome you back inside the 7 Mile Casino Studios, 7milecasino.com, along with Grande and the Brown Man. This is Kaplan and Crew, whether you're listening on radio, watching on TV, YouTubing, get involved in our YouTube live chat and audio podcast. Casey Stern's about to join us because Casey Stern has become a fan favorite around here. You know him from the Unfiltered podcast with Casey Stern. And when we start talking about the Padres and the Dodgers in this game that they played yesterday in spring training, I was kind of hoping we could get from Casey more of a, an East Coast perspective. It just seems to me, just reading reports and social media posts, it seems like so many people who are baseball fans are like offended by what the Padres have done. Maybe it's my misread on this, or maybe it's just a local reading, but it's as if the Yankees spend or the Mets spend or the Dodgers spend or the Cubs spend, like major market teams. If they spend outrageous money on salaries, everybody's like, yeah, okay, well, that's fine. But when the Padres do it, people are like, how? Why? Because the Padres are supposed to be like the Pirates or the Reds or the Rays or the Royals. And maybe Casey will tell us differently. I hope he does. But it just seems very weird that the Padres are getting so much, I think, negative blowback for all the spending that they've done and may still be doing. So here's Casey Stern from the Unfiltered podcast with Casey Stern. Hey, Case, how are you, man?
What's going on, Scott? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing really well. Hey, by the way, I want you to know something. I've been following your tweets here recently, and one of them most recently said, a year ago was the worst day of my life. I don't know what was going on in your life.
Yep.
But I will just say this. Everything that you're sending out via Twitter that you're feeling, on the receiving end, okay, I'm getting it. And I'm loving it, actually.
I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man.
Look, I say this all the time, and I feel like it's important. And, when I was, at XM and at Turner, I was involved in a lot of projects that we did talking about anxiety and mental health. And I think it's important that people realize that, like, as guys, we're all locked in and tuned into sports. And we got this idea that, like, we're not supposed to be humans. Like, we don't sit there and have the same issues, same problems, same, tendencies, let's say, off the air, right off the field, court, ice. And I think it's important to talk about the fact that not everything always going to go great, but you got to keep your head up and move forward. And that's not just for athletes that we talk about in our daily life, whether we cover it like you and I do, or whether we watch it like we all do, or whether you're an athlete yourself. We're all human. We're all the same. So for me, kind of cutting that out and normalizing the fact that it doesn't have to be on Dr. Phil, right? For a few guys to sit there and have a conversation who could be sports guys about real life expletive, right? Real life stuff. To me, if I can normalize that in any way, I want to do it.
Yeah, Casey put out a tweet and he pinned it. He says, a year ago today was arguably the worst day of my life. Today, I'm blessed, grateful, healthy, and motivated. If you're down, don't stay down. If you were put down, don't stay down. Don't let anyone steal your spirit ever. And what I always say is whatever your biggest problem is today, a year from now, it will be nothing.
That's right.
So
as long as you work day by day and take one day at a time. For me, it's like, everybody, whether it's family, you could deal with illnesses, all sorts of tragedies and things that in our own lives we all go through. At the end of the day, we're in such a world now in social media where we all put each other down and everybody getting on each other instead of empowering each other, everybody separated instead of together. For me, if we can motivate the opposite direction and kind of be the change instead of talking about it, because look, it's nice to give thoughts and prayers. I think we all do that. But if we can on a day-to-day basis, right, treat each other differently, I think we'll get to a better place. So it's something obviously, just like you, I love sports, what I'm all about, just like you got kids, I'm a family guy. But if there's anything that we could ever do to kind of help other people we don't know, I think that's a pretty powerful thing.
Yeah, nobody seems to want to do that lately. I was telling the guys earlier, because me and Browner yesterday were talking about how much we both loved the Chris Rock special on Saturday night.
I haven't seen it yet. Was it good?
Oh, my God. I thought, hold on. I thought it was hilarious. Then I made the terrible mistake. I made the terrible mistake of going on the radio up in LA and telling everybody how much I loved it. And I was and then I was beaten up by everybody because I'm just a middle-aged white guy, and that's who Chris Rock is trying to appeal to. And not only were they beating up on me for liking the Chris Rock special, they were beating up on Chris Rock because he's trying to appeal to a guy like me. And I'm saying to myself, hey, people, Do you guys understand that Snoop Dogg does TV shows with Martha Stewart? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they're
Snoop
friends.
Dogg, the gangster life that Snoop Dogg grew up in and then rapped about, he wanted something better. So he became a spokesperson for Corona beer, and he's sitting on a beach with Andy Samberg. He's doing cooking shows with Martha Stewart. So you're knocking me for liking Chris Rock, and you're knocking
Snoop
Chris
also
Rock.
Snoop also has an affirmations album. So yeah, for those of you who don't know, Snoop has a children's affirmation album.
Yeah.
I
Look
also
it up.
own
Like, it's
a
a
Snoop Dogg
real
cookbook.
thing.
I also own a Snoop Dogg cookbook, and surprisingly, it is not a THC cookbook. It is just regular old-fashioned food.
Yeah,
So-
could go along with it, I bet. But
Yeah.
it's probably fantastic. Look, end of the day, it's like, I know we're in a different conversation, but maybe a more important one. But whether you're a comedian or whether you do what we do, or we're talking about, any kind of performer, you're always trying to hit every demographic. If you're not, you're an idiot and you're not going to be successful. So the idea that I've watched especially, and I love Chris Rock, right? To me, the big piece of chicken is the greatest individual bit of comedy that wasn't done by George Carlin ever, because I'm a Carlin guy.
Me too.
But to me, if you sit there and you're not trying to hit a demographic that is outside of what you would say your wheelhouse might be, right? Then you're an idiot. I mean, that's part of performing. That's part of why he and everybody, Kevin Hart, anybody who's successful, George Carlin, Richard Pryor, any of these comedians, they're out there in the audience finding all different kinds of people, because that's the way you're going to go ahead and be successful.
Yeah.
So that idea is stupid that people are on it. I did hear, though, ironically, the only thing I know about it is from scrolling Twitter and being like, oh, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. It wasn't funny. I never laughed once. So you probably got hit hard for saying.
Dude, I mean, God forbid, I'm a Chris Rock fan, and I thought he
Me
was
too.
really funny,
I love
and I
Chris
thought
Rock.
that his response to Will Smith was really, really great. What a terrible person I am. Oh my God. Anyway, Casey Stern is here, and Casey talks baseball, not necessarily comedy, although he can talk about pretty much anything. Casey, I started this whole thing off by mentioning how the Padres seem to be perceived nationally. You're back
Yep.
east. You're in New York. I am curious. How do people, or what do you think people perceive the Padres to be? Because I sense that outside of San Diego, whether it's Dodger fans, Mets fans, Phillies fans, just generally baseball reporter types, people seem to be like, maybe this word's too strong, but almost offended. How dare they, small market Padres, spend this kind of money? And where the hell did they get all this money? What do you think?
Well, first of all, there's a few things here. Number one, the teams that you mentioned before you brought me on, when you're talking about the Rays, Reds, Twins, right? You mentioned the Pirates. You can throw a bunch of others in there. They all got money. You to own a baseball team, I don't think of the worst team you could think, right? The Reds are terrible, right? They cost a lot of money. I mean, these owners are rich, right? So the idea that they can't go ahead and spend above and beyond their margins like they aren't now is ridiculous. So there should be more owners like what the Padres have in their ownership that aren't in New York, LA, or Chicago that are spending. That's number one. Number two, we're always jealous of, as fans, and I think in the media too, covering or watching teams that can't do the things other teams can do. And I would take the Mets out of the group you mentioned, because I think, look, in this sport, we're always used to the Yankees. Now we're getting used to the Mets spending money. But growing up in New York, and I'm in Atlanta now for 8 years, but growing up in New York and covering sports there, I could tell you, and covering the Mets, they were always the little brother. The Yankees always spent money. Mets were never able to do that when the Wilpons were there. So it was always like, hey, the Mets should spend more, but the Yankees, to your point, that's okay. I think you're dealing with a Yankee Met thing with the Dodgers and the Padres being in that area. I think people just look at LA and they say, well, it's the Dodgers. It's beautiful. It's Chavez Ravine. They're supposed to win. Look at what they represent. They spent all this money and they won 8, 9 division titles in a row. And here come the Padres. Who the hell do they think they are? Is the way that the approach seems to be on the outside. It's jealousy. End of the day, absolute jealousy. They are afraid of you. Dodger fans are afraid of the Padres now because you got talent and you got money, and only they're supposed to have that, right? You're supposed to be hanging out with the Diamondbacks, sitting there in therapy, thinking about the Dodgers, not worrying about how to beat them in a division. I think it's jealousy more than anything else, for sure.
What do you think is going to happen now? So if what you're saying is right, and I think that actually you are right in a lot of ways, what do you think happens now from the Padres with Juan Soto? Because now there's been, I wouldn't call them reports, but I would just call them conversations that the Padres could actually get this Juan Soto deal done perhaps before the season starts. But then there's been these other, again, I don't know if I'll call them reports, but conversations about this has to be something over the top, massive, impressive to get Juan Soto and his agent Scott Boras to even consider something like this. So just make a prediction. Do the Padres do anything with Juan Soto this year?
I think they're going to try. The fact that they got Machado locked in, I think a lot of people look at it and say, well, maybe that means they're less inclined or likely to lock up Soto because of the amount of dollars, but I don't think so. I think it more sells Soto on the idea of why are you going to go out there into the open market? Who knows what teams could even afford you if you're looking for $450 million, whatever he wants. And you've already got a scenario where we've got money, we'll pay you top dollar. And now we have the growth of our young players along with Machado, who's locked in, and we paid Xander Bogaerts all that money. And you're going to finish things off, if you will, for us to be at the top of the list in terms of teams with a chance to win the World Series now for years to come. You don't have a guarantee that any of those teams. We're better right now suited than the Yankees are to pay you and to win. We're better suited than the Giants, who are going to have money, right? Would be certainly to win, even if they could offer you the same money. So I think it puts them in a better spot. But to your point, I think you have to also think about the player, and it's everybody gets on Scott, and it looks, if this is not Scott Boras' fault, this is anybody in that spot. If you know that you're worth what Juan Soto knows he's worth, you're most likely going to let yourself go out there and speed date and play that field, because that bidding war is going to earn you more money, and you still could probably choose wherever you want to go. How do you cut that off? The only way to do it is to offer more than enough money, have it be so exponentially bigger that you don't have a choice but to, let's say, go back to the Marlon Brando, an offer you can't refuse. I think you got to understand from the player's standpoint that a lot of us in that scenario would go out to market and free agency just like he probably will.
Sal, but a lot was made about him turning down that Nationals offer without really looking at the Nationals offer as a whole. They were basically up the creek without a paddle. Their ownership situation was weird, and they came to him with an offer. It was a big fat offer, but you have to look beyond that. And they thought, as a young man, he would probably just take the money. But as a businessman, he was kind of like, whoa, wait a minute. Who's going to own the team after this? What's the team going to look like around me after this? And so the fact that people are saying that he wants this massive number, which he might, Scott Boras might be trying to set the market, but set the market versus who? Because we all know Ohtani is going to get the biggest offer ever given to a baseball player or an athlete playing sports, period.
Yep, two things. One, I'm with you on Soto, and I think it's a great point because, first of all, the Nationals didn't offer that exorbitant enough number for him to, let's also be fair, lock into playing in D.C. versus the chances to be in New York or L.A. and to be a star. Soto's got that smile, that swag, that charisma, and that age. The other part is the player that we saw play in D.C. is deserving of that money, right? Of being that highest guy. We haven't seen that yet in San Diego, so let's also be fair about that.
That we agree with.
Right? The other part I would say is on Ohtani. Look, I've been saying this to everybody, and I see it, and I know Bob Nightingale a long time, and he's one of the guys who I see come out there. Padres will be in on Ohtani. Padres ownership have shown enough that they're willing to spend. They want to win. So if you want to do both those things, how could you not be in on Ohtani? But I would be, forget hard pressed to believe, forget stunned, forget shocked. I would be flatlined if it's anyone other than Mets, Yankees, Dodgers, Mariners. I don't think there's literally a chance he plays for any other team than those four.
Why?
Because he is one of one. He's one of one in the history of this sport. And one of one means whatever you make dollar-wise when you are in uniform, you are going to then make an exponential, ridiculous amount of money when you're outside of it. You can't do that with the Angels and wearing those colors, but you can in actual LA being a Dodger. You will, I think he'll be a Yankee for sure, my own opinion, as a Yankee. And I think you'll see him and Judge on every commercial for the rest of time. I think he'll be a Yankee. But the Mets, with Steve Cohen, all that money, also put you in New York. And for me, Seattle, there's a huge tie because of the demographic, because of Ichiro, for him, that they're going to at least have a really good shot, I think, to have him there. I don't think San Diego can offer him anything those four teams can't, because all the weather and all the things they can offer in LA, it's not Hollywood. And this guy can be Hollywood and make $1 bazillion being in that market and being in the LA market. You can't offer him New York if that's where he wants to go and be in the bright lights. And that's why I don't think the Mets can outbid the Yankees. I don't think he'll be in that. I do think it'll be a Yankee personally, but I look at Ohtani, and if you're in a one of one, literally in the history of this game, there's no Babe Ruth, There's no Mickey Mantle. There's no Mike Trout. This is the only dude, and you got a shot to make money in the landscape of today and social media and everything else that we've got going and the way these guys brand and make money. In baseball, you can't do that. That's why Russell Westbrook can be the 30th or 40th best player and make $1 bazillion off the court and everybody wearing his jersey. Ohtani, the one dude literally in this sport who can do that, he's not going to try and pull that off in San Diego, in my opinion. That's no disrespect. San Diego may be the most beautiful city in the country.
I think the Mariners are going to be the secret team that no one saw coming. That's in it to the end. Now, I don't know if they'll get him, but I think the Mariners are going to give it an honest shot with every penny that they're going to look under every couch cushion to give him everything that they got. Yeah, I agree.
Yep. They got a shot. And they got Julio Rodriguez too. Yeah.
Going back to the Soto thing, just because he's here, we get to worry about him for 2 years.
Of course.
Well, I made the argument, I don't know when, last week, that I think a Juan Soto extension starts where Aaron Judge got. And I make that argument because A, it's Scott Boras, and B, he's 7 years younger than him.
Yes.
He's a World Series champion.
Yep.
Two-time, 3-time Silver Slugger. Like, the kid is just an incredible hitter. They don't agree with me, these two.
He's a better hitter than Aaron Judge.
You're right. He just doesn't hit home runs.
He's a way better hitter than Aaron Judge, for sure.
So do you think, if you're looking at resetting the market, or isn't that where it starts?
Yeah, I mean, look, you got 9 for 360 for Aaron Judge, but let's not forget he got offered 400. Right?
By this team here.
Correct. Thank you. So he got offered 400. If you're going to pay 400 for Aaron Judge, who can't go win the home run record for you, he already won it, right? So all that gets along with that, the end of that season, all that money you're making, it's already been made in New York. So you're paying for what you got. You were willing to pay for 400 for a guy who, for those 9 years, was probably going to be DHing for you for 6 of them. All right. And is way older than Soto, way more power, great dude, but not nearly the hitter that Juan Soto is. For me, there's no doubt in my mind, none, that this number will start with a 4. Unless the only caveat to that is if he doesn't sign before the season, he plays it out, he has a subpar year, Machado and Tatis Jr. outplay him. He looks like an all-star, but not Soto, like Soto, who's with Trout and Ohtani and everybody else in some other category, which is what Soto looked like a year and a half ago. If he doesn't look like that guy, then no. But if Soto plays the capability he played in D.C., which is very possible because he did it for 4 or 5 years and did it at 19 before he came to San Diego. If he does that, he's making at least $400 million, at least.
Yeah, we're talking to Casey Stern this afternoon. The podcast is called Unfiltered with Casey Stern. Browner and I have argued that you don't sign Soto yet. You give it the year to see what does he go back to who he was, or is he the guy that we saw in a Padre uniform last year? I say that we put those videos on social media and everybody's like, you're wrong, moron. If you can get him signed now, you sign him. And I'm willing to accept the argument that if you've got Machado, Bogarts, and Tatis already signed for the next 11 years, maybe you should sign Juan Soto to an 11, 12, 13 million or 13-year deal.
To Casey's point, if the number starts with a 4 because of the season he had last year, if he goes back and reverts to DC Soto, doesn't that number start with a 5?
I don't know about a 5, but it's certainly going to be higher.
Yeah.
Because I'm with you on what I think exactly what you said is where people need to go to. First of all, these conversations never come down to what guys deserve or should, because this is all crazy money, right? So we got to forget about that. It's about the benchmarks that are set. They offered Aaron Judge $400 million. Scott Boras, if he gets offered 370, is going to turn around and say, wait a minute, you offered a guy who's older and everything we just discussed, right? So if it's San Diego, especially, that already got to start with a 4, or at least got to be 370, but all you got to do is like stay alive for like the contract, right? Like something that's easy, right? Something that's easy to get to, okay? Because you got to be able to come out and get 4. Just to give you an idea of a comp for that, when Scott signed the deal with Max in DC, it was 210 in quotes, but it really wasn't. It was far less than that. But he had to go through this hoop, that hoop, and do all these things. He got to be at least able to say it's 4 if it's Soto. But I will tell you that I don't think your point is crazy. It depends on, these players are investments. They're like stocks. So if you think that you can, and I don't know, we're not in the talks, but if based on the money now, you think, hey, look, we know Soto going to turn back, be that dude. Because look, it's not easy to go from where he was in the middle of a season. This is not easy what he tried to do. He's going to be way better. Look at what Lindor looked like when he went from Cleveland, right, to then go to the Mets. In the first year, he was awful. And last year, he was terrific, nearly an MVP candidate. Soto going to be okay. So to the point of where the fans may be, Scott, they're thinking, well, geez, we could buy a little bit low, quote unquote, and maybe save a little money because he's not coming off that dynamic year versus he shows that year he's an MVP, let's say, and then we're up, what's creek without a paddle.
Right.
But that's the dice roll that you make.
Right.
Which guy is he going to be? And by the way, we're talking about saving maybe $30-40 million, but not between 40 total and 80 total, between like 400 total and 440 total.
Yeah.
So at that point, what risk are you willing to take? Because those are the kind of numbers you're looking
I know we got to
Hey,
go.
Alex,
I know
we got 30
go.
seconds. Go ahead, Alex.
Yes
Finish
or
it
no?
up.
Yeah, just quick. Who's better on paper right now, Dodgers or Padres?
I think the Padres are better on paper if Tatis Jr. is your comeback player of the year, which he should be. He's got the talent to be. Yeah.
There you go. Casey Stern. Hey, by the way, Casey, you should check out either our bio on our Twitter, Kaplan and Crew, or our website, Kaplan and Crew. I know your shirt, prospects are cool, but parades are cooler. Our new shirt is the Seidler Sustainable, because everybody's asking the question, are the Padres sustainable? We've got
that.
Dude, it's hilarious. We'll
I
send
like
it
that.
to
I will
you.
check it out.
Hey, Casey,
I'll check it out,
thank you
boys.
thanks for the 20 minutes here today. This has been a
Anytime,
great conversation. We'll look forward to talking to you all baseball season long.
Anytime, buddy.
All right, man, appreciate you. All right, we're in the 7 Mile Casino studios. Everybody stick around. We got a lot more to get to. That was an awesome conversation with Casey Stern. Stay with us, everybody. This is Kaplan and Crew with Grande and the Brown Man.
You're watching Kaplan and Crew Tonight, powered by the mightier 1090 AM, ESPN Radio, and Your View, featuring the best sports talk in SoCal. Dominating the SoCal radio airwaves for over 20 years. Join Scott Kaplan, Alex Padilla, and John Browner for Kaplan and Crew every Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. Only on the mightier 1090 ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk, and the mightier1090.com.
An ADU is accessory dwelling unit, and it's become one of the most popular solutions to housing in the United States. We constructed this to provide housing for my mother, who is elderly.
Well, I wanted to downsize. At my age, that's what I wanted to do. Eric engaged the services of Murray Lambert, a top building company.
This is an 825 square foot structure, but it actually looks more like 1,000 because of the spatial considerations. Micah was great. He took the ball and ran with it and came up with this really great combination.
It always appealed to me, high ceilings. It gives a sense of space, of openness, and I like that. Oh, I would give this experience a 10 for sure. Plus, 10 plus.
When someone you know has COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, things can progress very quickly, making them feel hopeless. But it doesn't have to be like this.
See, Mom, this place is going to be great for you. They're going to help you breathe better.
Pulmonary rehabilitation at La Mesa Rehab focuses on patient education and training. We use special therapies to improve your lungs, clear out mucus, and keep you out of the hospital. Pulmonary rehab is Medicare approved. Call now to see if you qualify or ask your doctor about La Mesa Rehab today.
Since 1975, San Diegans have trusted the Murray Lambert family for their home remodeling projects. We continue our commitment to deliver high-quality home remodeling and construction to our customers without an expensive showroom.
When you're adding companion units or ADUs to bring value to your home, our team has the experience to handle everything. Plus, our strong relationships with the city makes adding on easier for homeowners.
Visit murraylambert.com for your consultation.
The #1 disease in the world, according to World Health Organization, is dental disease. For 25 years, we've had one of the most leading group dental practices in the country. Imagine you're a parent, you're a mom or a dad, and you have a 2-year-old that doesn't get any cavities, and you have a 12-year-old that has a soda habit and gets a ton of cavities. Well, how do you determine what oral care products to get? It's really mind-boggling that currently there does not exist an oral care product company that specializes for kids. So we thought this is a great opportunity to get into that space and revolutionize oral care for kids. We have every single product that every parent needs for every person in that family. It's very comprehensive. The next thing is we customize your oral care products. Someone who has a lot of gum disease probably requires different sets of oral care products that someone has a very, very healthy mouth. And it's also conveniently shipped to your home every 3 to 6 months. Make sure you go to supermouth.com and check out all the educational content. And of course, check out our profile builder to get the right products for every family member.
You're watching Kaplan and Crew Tonight, powered by the mightier 1090 AM, ESPN Radio, and Your View, featuring the best sports talk in SoCal. Listen to the Mike Greenberg Show, 7 to 9 a.m. Pacific, Monday through Friday. Greeny brings his unmatched depth of sports knowledge, fun, and entertainment back to ESPN on a daily basis. The mightier 1090 ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk, and the mightier1090.com. We'll be right back with more of Scott Kaplan and Crew Tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew Show on the mightier 1090 AM, ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk.
Hey, Hoop fans, it's Victor Howell here, host of the NCAA Tournament Special, Breaking Down the Madness. Each week during the tournament, we'll assemble a panel of regional experts that follow your local team all the way to the Final Four. Highlights, predictions, interviews, and much, much more as we break down the madness right here on Your View.
Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and find your big fitness energy in a clean and spacious judgment-free zone. Deal in soon. See Home Club for details.
The number one disease in the world, according to World Health Organization, is dental disease. For 25 years, we've had one of the most leading group dental practices in the country. Imagine you're a parent, you're a mom or a dad, and you have a 2-year-old that doesn't get any cavities, and you have a 12-year-old that has a soda habit and gets a ton of cavities. Well, how do you determine what oral care products to get? It's really mind-boggling that currently there does not exist an oral care product company that specializes for kids. So we thought this is a great opportunity to get into that space and revolutionize oral care for kids. We have every single product that every parent needs for every person in that family. It's very comprehensive. The next thing is we customize your oral care products. Someone who has a lot of gum disease probably requires different sets of oral care products that someone has a very, very healthy mouth. And it's also conveniently shipped to your home every 3 to 6 months. Make sure you go to supermouth.com and check out all the educational content. And of course, check out our profile builder to get the right products for every family member.
We're adopting dogs from local shelters, training them for post 9/11 combat veterans, and we're able to donate these trained dogs to deserving veterans in need. Service dogs can range anywhere from $15,000 to $35,000, $40,000. And for someone getting out of the military that's seeking support and help, having that sort of price tag is daunting. So we really wanted to be able to support the veterans to make sure that they're getting a dog that they need in their life at no charge.
I was in a very dark place. I was having suicidal thoughts, and I really needed an immediate help. We don't know if tomorrow is going to be there for us. So I found Shelter the Soldier online, and I reached out, and somebody contacted me within 24 hours. And in the next couple of weeks, I was already in the program meeting dogs.
Your View Community Spotlight is brought to you by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Flood.
An ADU is accessory dwelling unit, and it's become one of the most popular solutions to housing in the United States. We constructed this to provide housing for my mother, who is elderly.
Well, I wanted to downsize. At my age, that's what I wanted to do. Eric engaged the services of Murray Lambert, a top building company.
This is an 825 square foot structure, but it actually looks more like 1,000 because of the spatial considerations. Micah was great. He took the ball and ran with it and came up with this really great combination.
It always appealed to me, high ceilings. It gives a sense of space, of openness, and I like that. Oh, I would give this experience a 10 for sure. Plus, 10 plus.
For many consumers, sleeping at night should be an easy experience. For many, it's not. There are a number of reasons for that, most notably those that suffer from acid reflux or heartburn. There are also many individuals dealing with various pains or ailments. MedCline is a sleep solution company with our goal to allow people to have a healthy and peaceful night's sleep. And we do that with our therapeutic side sleeping systems. Our patented, clinically studied MedCline relief systems are designed to place an adult in an elevated side sleeping position, which can help them reduce the symptoms or issues they're dealing with. MedCline systems are registered with the FDA, and as a medical product, MedCline systems are qualified for use with FSA and HSA funds. For anyone looking for more information, you can visit medcline.com/sleepbetter.
I was injured in a car crash. I had no idea how much my case was worth. I called the Barnes firm.
When the truck hit my son, I had so many questions about his case. I called the Barnes firm. It was the best call I could have made.
Your case is often worth more than insurance offers. Call the Barnes firm to find out what your case could be worth. We will help you get the best result possible.
The Barnes firm. Injury attorneys. Call 1-800-8-million.
When someone you know has COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, things can progress very quickly, making them feel hopeless. But it doesn't have to be like this.
See, Mom, this place is going to be great for you. They're going to help you breathe better.
Pulmonary rehabilitation at La Mesa Rehab focuses on patient education and training. We use special therapies to improve your lungs, clear out mucus, and keep you out of the hospital. Pulmonary rehab is Medicare approved. Call now to see if you qualify or ask your doctor about La Mesa Rehab today.
Hey, Hoop fans, it's Victor Howell here, host of the NCAA Tournament Special, Breaking Down the Madness. Each week during the tournament, we'll assemble a panel of regional experts that follow your local team all the way to the Final Four. Highlights, predictions, interviews, and much, much more as we break down the madness right here on Your View.
Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and find your big fitness energy in a clean and spacious judgment-free zone. Deal in soon. See Home Club for details.
An ADU is an accessory dwelling unit, and it's become one of the most popular solutions to housing in the United States. We constructed this to provide housing for my mother, who is elderly.
Well, I wanted to downsize. At my age, that's what I wanted to do. Eric engaged the services of Murray Lambert, a top building company.
This is an 825 square foot structure, but it actually looks more like 1,000 because of the spatial considerations. Micah was great. He took the ball and ran with it and came up with this really great combination.
It always appealed to me, high ceilings. It gives a sense of space, of openness, and I like that. Oh, I would give this experience a 10 for sure. Plus, 10 plus.
Learn about the many health benefits of MedCline pillows, from easing shoulder pain, reflux relief, and just getting a great night of sleep. Watch Your Health only on Your View, Sundays at 4:30 p.m. Brought to you by MedCline. Sleep better, feel better, live better.
The #1 disease in the world, according to World Health Organization, is dental disease. For 25 years, we've had one of the most leading group dental practices in the country. Imagine you're a parent, you're a mom or a dad, and you have a 2-year-old that doesn't get any cavities, and you have a 12-year-old that has a soda habit and gets a ton of cavities. Well, how do you determine what oral care products to get? It's really mind-boggling that currently there does not exist an oral care product company that specializes for kids. So we thought this is a great opportunity to get into that space and revolutionize oral care for kids. We have every single product that every parent needs for every person in that family. It's very comprehensive. The next thing is we customize your oral care products. Someone who has a lot of gum disease probably requires different sets of oral care products than someone has a very, very healthy mouth. And it's also conveniently shipped to your home every 3 to 6 months. Make sure you go to supermouth.com and check out all the educational content. And of course, check out our profile builder to get the right products for every family member.
Hey, Hoop fans, it's Victor Howell here, host of the NCAA Tournament Special, Breaking Down the Madness. Each week during the tournament, we'll assemble a panel of regional experts that follow your local team all the way to the Final Four. Highlights, predictions, interviews, and much, much more as we break down the madness right here on Your View.
Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and find your big fitness energy in a clean and spacious judgment-free zone. Deal in soon. See Home Club for details.
Welcome back. This is Scott Kaplan and Crew Tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew Show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio. SoCal Sports Talk. Here's Scott Kaplan, John Browner, and Alex Padilla.
Hey, great friends. It is Tuesday afternoon. This is Kaplan and Crew with Grande and the Brown Man from the 7 Mile Casino Studios, 7milecasino.com. We just had a great conversation with Casey Stern. You know, Casey's a guy who you've seen so many times on so many different platforms. You know, he did NBA studio work forever on Turner. He's done so much with the MLB Network, and now he's got his own podcast, which, you know, I mean, it's a common thing to say. Everybody's got their own podcast, but his podcast, Unfiltered, is one of those baseball insider podcasts that it seems like a lot of baseball management type of people kind of listen to because he's got that sort of insight. I don't know about you guys, Grande and Brown Man. I think Casey's great. I think that was a terrific conversation. I think we'll talk to him many times during the baseball season. Alex, I loved your question at the end, which is on paper, who's better, the Padres or the Dodgers? That will irritate the hell out of Dodger fans when they see that. Just
yeah,
all in
because he
all,
comes
it's a
from
great
it.
conversation.
You know, besides, I think he's a Mets fan, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So besides him picking the Mets to beat the Padres in the wild card, he's pretty unbiased, which is I find very rare for a New York fan. They just kind of always go New York, New York, New York. And him saying, even bringing up Seattle for Ohtani, I think is refreshing to hear that it's not just the big names. I think Seattle's working on some crazy stuff. I would be shocked personally if Ohtani ends up here. I would be
With the Padres?
stunned. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Stunned.
Yeah, me
If he
too.
ends up here. I am just hopeful he doesn't end up in Dodger blue.
Well, I mean, Casey says he thinks that it's like an automatic that he's going to go to the Yankees because even though the Mets can offer that kind of money, they're not the number one primary brand in New York. And when you think about the most historic brand in baseball, you think about the Yankees. I would say secondarily, you probably think about the Dodgers. And if he's happy where he's at in Southern California, like his lifestyle, you know, moving from Anaheim to LA or even just commuting from wherever he may live to LA doesn't seem that far-fetched. The other part of it is the you know, the culture of LA, you know, the diversity of LA. I could see him being a part of all of that.
But he's already in LA.
Well, yeah, as we all know. But I think the other part of Browner, you brought it up, is, you know, the Seattle part of it. Like when he says Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, I say, okay, those all seem reasonable. When you say Seattle, I ask the question, why would he be considering Seattle? And, you know, Browner, you brought it up also that, you know, there's that Ichiro connection to the Mariners organization. And that perhaps makes the Mariners, you know, puts them in consideration for Ohtani. We'll see.
Do you think Ohtani just goes like Machado did, like whoever gives him the most? Or do you think that he's actually going to put winning as a priority? See, the Mariners were good. The Mariners made the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. The Yankees are in the playoffs. The Mets were in the playoffs. The Mets won 100 freaking games.
Right.
You know, but I'm saying, like, do you think that it's whoever gives him the most gets him?
No, I
Or do
don't
you
think
think
so.
he'll do the Aaron Judge and be like, I want to go back to
No.
New York?
I don't think it'll be the person who gives them the most money. I think it'll be the people who give them, A, the best presentation, and 2, where he feels the most comfortable. And I think that's why Seattle will have a chance. Because if you're like him, you grew up in a place completely unlike where you live now, you want to be around people who look like you. You want to eat the same. You want to try to eat foods that you're familiar with. You want to try to walk the streets and see people like you. Like you want this to be the last stop because this is a 10-year, 15-year deal we're looking at. This ain't some 3 or 4 year deal. This is the life of his career now. And if he's going to make that decision, it's solely going to be based on comfort within his life because the baseball season is long and it sucks. So you want to be in a place where you're happy.
It sucks.
So
I know, right? Like,
it does.
Hey, players, let me
Terrible
ask you,
life.
you like the baseball season? You play professionally, you make $400 million. No, it sucks, man. I hate it.
They all don't make that money.
What do you
No, I
think,
know.
Scott? You think he's going to the highest bidder?
No, I don't think he's going to the highest bidder because I think that it doesn't matter if you're the Mets, the Yankees, or the Dodgers. And I guess if you want to throw the Mariners in, I think the problem that the Mariners will have is that to pay Ohtani what they might have to pay him might mean that they won't have money to pay other guys, and therefore he'll be in the same situation he's in with the Angels right now. If you're going to talk about traditional winners, I would start off with the Yankees and the Dodgers. If the Mets are going to blow me away by giving me more than the Yankees or the Dodgers are offering, and it's $600 million versus $500 million, then maybe I got to go consider the Mets. But I think that it really does come down to the Yankees and the Dodgers. Because I think two things will be at work. Can I win and can I make a lot of money? Can I make a lot of money? The answer is yes.
Yes.
You
Right.
can make a lot of money
like
in Seattle or San Diego. You can
like he
make
said,
that
if
same
he
money.
just stays
Correct.
alive through this year, he's going to get paid.
Yeah, that's it.
But I asked the
Cross the
question
finish line.
because if you believe the reports before he signed the Angels, he would have been a Padre if there was a DH here.
Right.
You just said it. If you believe the reports,
Right.
I'll be honest with you.
I mean, the Padres went all in. Remember,
I know,
like,
but
they
I
hired
never,
like Hideo. Like they were doing all they could to get that guy.
but I never believed at the time that the Padres had a real chance
I
to
was
get
just
him.
about to say.
At the time, it's important to put that in there.
Yeah.
At the time, I never believed the Padres had a legitimate chance to get Ohtani because there was no Manny Machado and there was no Fernando Tatis and there was no Bogarts and there was no Soto. All there was Will Myers and maybe Eric Hosmer, if I'm getting my chronology right.
Yeah.
They're just the Padres were not in a position back then to prove to a player that we're going to be winners. No one would have believed that when the Padres were going after
The Padres
Ohtani.
are in on all these Japanese, Korean guys, though. They paid a lot of money to get Ha-Seong Kim here. They tried to get Suzuki, who ended up going to the Cubs. They tried to get Ohtani, who ended up going to the Angels. And the Padres dropped an incredible amount of money on international players. They just broke a record for this Ethan Salas catcher, who's 16 years old, who has already been said he's a future Hall of Famer by some baseball heads out there. So I think I don't believe he was close because there was never a DH here. But do I think that they were willing to do whatever it took to get him? Yes. And now do I think
agree.
that times 10? Yes. Like, do I think
Here's
that
the
they
reason.
would do whatever? I don't think they could outspend the other teams, but do I think that they'll make his life the top grade, top shelf life as possible here? Yes.
I think the Padres had a chance, not because of then, because of what we see now. Maybe they had the opportunity to explain to him the building blocks and the vision that they saw going forward, and he would have been the first brick in his wall as opposed to Manny being. Like, if we're talking about putting pillars down for foundation, instead of Manny being the first guy, Ohtani would have been the first guy, then Manny would have been the second guy, and then the domino would have fell as so forth. But it ended up being because if the reports are true, we didn't have a DH. So then he had to go to Anaheim, which he was like, well, what's that other place a couple miles up? Let's go there. Whatever.
Let me ask you guys one more Ohtani question, because I think Ohtani is the most interesting story in all of baseball. Not Juan Soto, not Tatis. I think the future of Ohtani is the story. Any chance the Angels are good this year and he stays?
I find that hard to believe.
Because
no,
Rendon is
hurt
healthy.
last year, a lot.
Rendon is
Yeah.
healthy supposedly. For how long, I don't know. Mike Trout is healthy. I think he fixed his back. They got some free agents. They got pitchers now. They went out and got like these mid guys. They didn't go out and get the big tier guys like they're used to getting splashy. They went out there and they got guys like Brandon Drury's there now. He was really good for the Padres when he was here. They got was it Tyler Anderson from the Dodgers, the pitcher. So they went out and they got like pieces. And they weren't terrible under Nevin after they kind of figured it out. They weren't awful. Remember, like every time Ohtani pitched, they were winning. So is there any chance the Angels become a playoff team this year? And he's like, you know what? I like it. Let's keep going.
I don't see it. I really don't. I think that when he looks at Yankee Stadium or he looks at Dodger Stadium, or even if he looks at Citi Field where the Mets play,
Petco,
and Petco, or in Seattle, he looks at those ballparks, and he looks at Angel Stadium. He considers ownership, which, a few months ago, Artie Moreno was supposed to be selling the Angels. People were excited about that. Now he's keeping the Angels. I just think,
because you're talking about a 10-year deal.
Yeah, I just think all in all, I think if you're Ohtani, I really think like Casey thinks. Casey thinks the Yankees. I think the Yankees are the Dodgers. And the reason I don't put the Padres number one is because they've already spent so much money. And by the way, if the Padres do sign Soto, then they will have had, they'll have committed, $1.5, $1.7 billion to like 4 or 5 guys. I just don't see the Padres having just purely unlimited amounts of money to go out and get Soto. Put it this way, if the Padres sign Soto, I will tell you no chance they're getting Ohtani. If the Padres don't sign Soto, they'll be all in on trying to get Ohtani. And then it really,
I think that's what the holdup is. I honestly believe it. I think that's what the holdup is. I think they want to sign Soto, but they also want to see what happens with Ohtani, and they're probably trying to feel that out. That's why they're not giving Soto the money, because other than that, what would be the reason to not give him the money?
What Casey said, which was what you saw from Soto in Washington is not yet what we've seen from Soto in San Diego. And before you go and give him some outlandish contract, wouldn't you just like to have some assurance that he'll come back to who he was? And he mentioned,
well, I've said that. You've said that.
Right. But he mentioned that, Lindor. And right. Didn't he say, he talked about how
Francisco Lindor,
how he went from first year, not really that great,
Cleveland,
to New York, right? He went from Cleveland to New York, not really that great in the middle of the season. Then last year, nearly an MVP candidate. He's like, so he got comfortable,
I'm going to throw another team out there.
All right.
The Astros.
For Ohtani?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because they are smart with their money. They don't have $300 million contracts, but they got a lot of contracts on the shelf, and they've spent money. And I know they got Yordan Alvarez, who is MVP type, and he plays DH, but that dude plays outfield too. That dude played 60 games in the outfield last year. I'm just gonna throw it. I don't think the Astros get any sort of run for these big name guys because obviously they lost
people
Correa,
hate them,
and people hate them. But I think the Astros are one of the best run franchises. I mean, they won the World Series last year. If he wants to go win,
that's a great point.
I don't see it. I don't see Houston as a landing spot. And it goes back to what Casey said. He thinks the Yankees, because he sees Judge and Ohtani in every commercial from now until the end of time.
Yeah.
And even though Ohtani is a monster international superstar, it's not that he wouldn't be in Houston. It's just that he would be that much more in New York. That's all.
Yeah.
All right. So listen, hey, this segment of the show is being brought to us by our friends at iThrive MD, 858-240-1497, 858-240-1497. Alex, today's Tuesday. Are you taking the injection today, or are you waiting till tomorrow? Because I know you got off.
I'm taking it today because I'm out of here. So I haven't taken it yet, but I will take it today. Yes.
Okay. And so we're now at, yesterday you said 42 pounds of total weight loss so far?
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow. Truly amazing. If you go to our website, kaplanandcrew.com, and you click on iThrive, you'll learn all about the iThrive Lean program. If you don't have the knowledge to change your diet, if you don't have the discipline to change your diet, if you don't have the time to work out the way you need to lose the kind of weight, if you don't have the time, energy, and bandwidth to completely change your life to lose 40 or 50 pounds, I mean, people are finding tremendous success with iThrive Lean. Alex has lost 42 pounds. He told us about the photographer in his wedding who lost over 60 pounds. We've seen Dr. Fry, who lost 30 pounds herself. You can lose a lot of weight by using the iThrive Lean program. It's FDA approved and it's guaranteed. What'd you say?
That's the other thing. Like, what if you do have the discipline and you do have the diet? You could be like Dr. Fry and just get a kickstart and really accelerate your process.
Or I told you guys about a friend of mine that I visited with a couple weeks ago. I saw her in a bikini and I was like, and she's 50 years old. And I went, God, you look great. What are you doing? Trainer, dietitian, chef? Like, what are you doing? She's like, no, I'm taking the shot. Like, and she laughed about it because, in her world, everybody's taking the shot. And I was like, but you didn't really need to lose a bunch of weight. She's like, no, but look how lean I am. So yeah, I mean, let's say you need to lose 15 pounds, 10 pounds, and you could take this and probably have it off of you in a month. And, you're saving $200 a month for the first 2 months. So you might as well give it a try. Listen, the way they describe it, it's like there's lines out the door. Like you're trying to get into the hottest club in town, in downtown. iThrive MD, 858-240-1497. You said you're out of here.
So proud of you.
For?
Not saying nightclub.
Nightclub.
You said the hottest club in San Diego. You're a fast learner, man.
Club.
Gave you grief about it yesterday.
Yeah. I am a fast learner and I'm very, very coachable. As a matter of fact, I was playing pickleball till late Sunday evening, and I've been playing with these guys they're players. I mean, these guys have been playing for a few years. They're not like new to the game like I am, and they've been coaching me up. And there's so much to think about when you're playing pickleball. Have either of you guys tried it yet?
Mm-mm.
No, Browner, you're not going to try it. We know this. This is too white for you. I know. I got it.
I play another very white sport. What
do you
on
bowl?
My leisure time? No, disc golf.
Disc golf?
Yeah.
I'm going to say right now, disc golf is whiter than pickleball, in my opinion.
The amount of white people on the course, I would agree with you too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pickleball, there's a lot to know. And so this one buddy of mine, his name's Greg Parker. He's been kind of coaching me up. Not that he's a pro, but he's been playing the game for a long time. I got another buddy of mine who had a terrible ski accident and busted his leg like you can't believe, and had all these major surgeries, and is now like in a year worth of rehab. And this guy's playing on one leg and literally not moving, but he knows how to serve the ball so well and spin the ball that I can't even barely return the serve. So he's kicking my ass all over the place, and the guy's not moving.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So let me get this straight. You lost to a one-legged person in pickleball.
Correct. And
it's like that old
you-
saying,
and
like,
you-
I could beat you with one hand tied behind my back. That's
Yeah.
that's a step up right there. I'll beat you with one leg.
Yeah. And by the way, Browner, not just with one leg and completely not moving.
And you think that this sport is good for activity?
It's all right. I don't even know if I'd call it a sport. I call it more of a game.
That's why I said sport.
Yeah, like to me, bowling is a game. Pickleball is a game. It's like tennis is a sport. You're running all over the place.
Golf is a game.
Golf is a
Golf's a
game.
game.
Thank you.
Yeah,
golf is a game,
Golf's a
dude.
game. Doesn't mean that the players
God.
aren't athletes. It just
Yeah.
means that golf is a game.
Doesn't mean that you can't be a pro, athlete
Golfer.
playing a game.
You're a pro gamer.
I mean, listen, auto racing is, these guys are great athletes. But, what are you giving me a face for?
You think race car drivers are athletes?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
100%.
You've been a K1? You've gone go-kart?
Who?
Have you gone go-kart, like got K1 or something?
You ever stole a car?
Go do that. Oh, come on.
What does stealing a car have to do with
What's
athleticism?
what's a 1998
me a
Hyundai
question?
Sonata compared to like an F1
You
going 200 miles per hour,
me-
dude? Get out of here.
You asked me a question. I asked you a
broken
question.
window.
All I'm saying is this.
Yeah.
If you're sitting there, you turn the wheel, bro. That's not a sport.
Yeah,
There's no athleticism involved in that.
Well,
There's no athleticism involved in that.
You say that, but I'll tell you this right now. Many years ago, right here on the same channel that we use to broadcast this show, Channel 4 San Diego, many years ago, Billy Ray and I had a TV show called Scott and BR TV. And Browner, I swear to you, I had the exact same opinion. So I decided to put it to the test. We had a race car driver up in North County, San Diego. His name is Boris Said. And Boris is still out there.
Love
and
him.
I think, and love Boris Said, right? And he's a great guy.
Street circuit, what's
Yeah.
it called? Specialist.
He's a guy who's done he's done everything from NASCAR to these I don't know what these races are called in Europe. They're not F1, but they're like these whatever. Boris has done every kind of racing there is, right? So he's a professional race car athlete. And what we did is we took Donnie Edwards, who drives a car every day and was a world-class athlete as a linebacker for the Chargers, and we said, let's put the two of you guys together and see who can win a race. So we went to
But
K1.
did Donnie steal the car first?
He did not. He did not steal it.
Okay.
So we went to K1 in Carlsbad, and we had all of our cameras and everything, and we had Boris in a go-kart, and we had Donnie in a go-kart. Boris is a professional driving athlete. Donnie's a professional athlete who drives. Let's see what happens. It wasn't even close. I mean, it wasn't even close. Donnie was a great football player and a great athlete, but he couldn't drive. He didn't know the angles. He didn't know how to use the car, when to hit the gas, when to hit the brake. He didn't know any of that kind of stuff. Boris was working him like it was nothing. That would be like taking Boris and putting him on a football field and saying, go try and play linebacker like Donnie. So, Browner, to your point, I thought the same thing. Come on, it's just driving. I put it to the test, and it wasn't even close. The race car drivers are athletes.
No, they're not. Anything you practice,
Cousin Nancy's
you
gonna
should
be
get
so
good
mad
at.
at you.
I know. I love Cousin Nancy. Okay, what's her 40 time? Like, what are we talking about here?
What, you just
like,
have
if I'm
athletes only
really
run?
good at, yes,
You have to run.
Yes,
I don't agree.
run, jump, do something against an opponent. You have to outdo someone in a physical competition. That's athletic.
That's race car driving.
Is chess a game?
Yes,
Or is chess a sport?
it's a game.
Like, come on, like
Yeah, chess is a game.
Are you
Bowling's a
really
game.
did you really just
you're
compare
asking me.
chess,
you're asking
playing
me,
chess
is-
to driving a
200
sport?
mile an hour car, right?
Is race car driving hard?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, it
man.
is.
By the way,
I'm not
Brown
saying
Facts
that it's
bracket
not
coming
hard.
next week.
Oh,
Brown
really?
Facts bracket. I mean, it has to. It's March Madness, baby.
Yeah.
And look what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
A chess player and an F1 driver, same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Both non-athletes.
Is it driving? Is driving at that speed hard?
Yes.
Yes.
tweeted
I'm
at
not
Brown
saying
Facts
it
in a
is
long
not hard. Okay. It doesn't make it a sport because it's hard. Playing chess against someone could be very difficult. It could be very stressful. It could be very hard. It doesn't make it a sport.
Right. Nobody's
It
arguing that it
doesn't.
is. Nobody's
it doesn't
arguing.
make you an athlete. Correction. You're right. You're right.
Nobody's
That's fair.
arguing
Let
that
me
is.
let me be very specific. It doesn't make you an athlete.
Let me ask you this: to be great at chess, you got to train your body.
Yes.
You do?
Your mind's a part of your body.
No, but you have to train your physical body to play chess.
Yes.
Okay, I disagree. On the other hand, you must
There you
train
go.
your physical body to race car, to drive a race car.
Are you pulling 5 to 6 Gs while playing chess?
Are you being able to think on multiple levels
Yes.
while
Yes.
playing chess?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. We all say yes. Yes, you think on multiple levels playing chess. Look, man, all I'm saying is this. To me, in my opinion, these guys are not athletes. Is it a sport? You can call it a sport. I think it's a game. Either way, we just agree on that.
No.
To me, an athlete is someone who competes in a physical contest where you have to go against the person and deny them as they're trying to do something against you. That is my idea of competition.
All right, stick around, everybody. We're in the 7 Mile Casino Studios, 7milecasino.com. So we started today talking about rumors that Rich Eisen put out, NFL rumors that Rich Eisen put out. Tom Brady has replied to the Rich Eisen rumors. We'll get to that story coming right up. This is Kaplan and Crew.
You're watching Kaplan and Crew Tonight, powered by the mightier 1090 AM, ESPN Radio, and Your View, featuring the best sports talk in SoCal.
Locally owned and operated, not some bland, uninspired, corporate, cookie-cutter radio station crap. We simply say to those stations, Q. The mightier 1090 ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk.
Murray Lampert now brings architectural and interior design to a whole new level for your remodel, ADU, or whole house build.
We're truly a team at Murray Lampert Design, Build, Remodel, and we don't take that lightly.
Visit murraylampert.com.
This is a huge wall. I'm sure it presented some challenges.
You're right, Sarah. And what it was in the model we noticed there it was too much wood. This was supposed to be clad. And with the beautiful stairs and railings, we realized that we need to come up with a different finish. So we used these reglets that are metal with the drywall, and it gave it this grid look that also matches up with the beams.
Wow, that came out beautiful. If you want to see how they conquered more design challenges, check out Our Family, Your Home.
When you're in pain, you need physical therapy that works, but you want to feel safe during these times. At La Mesa Rehab, your health is our business. We screen each patient, provide masks, and constantly sanitize our private individual treatment areas so you can focus on healing. The foundation of our physical therapy is education. Our therapists care and guide you through the healing process. Ask your doctor about La Mesa Rehab.
The best care you can have at La Mesa Rehab.
When you're adding companion units or ADUs to bring more value to your home, our experience plus our strong relationship with the city makes adding on easier for our homeowners.
At Murray Lampert, we listen to you first, then design and build. Visit murraylampert.com.
If you're going to count yourself as a fan of this radio station, you'll need to continuously ask yourself one basic question. Am I listening enough? Pro tip, wives are not a good source for input on this. This is the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio.
When you're adding companion units or ADUs to bring more value to your home, our experience plus our strong relationship with the city makes adding on easier for our homeowners.
At Murray Lampert, we listen to you first, then design and build. Visit murraylampert.com.
For many consumers, sleeping at night should be an easy experience. For many, it's not. There are a number of reasons for that, most notably those that suffer from acid reflux or heartburn. There are also many individuals dealing with various pains or ailments. MedCline is a sleep solution company with our goal to allow people to have a healthy and peaceful night's sleep. And we do that with our therapeutic side sleeping systems. Our patented, clinically studied MedCline relief systems are designed to place an adult in an elevated side sleeping position, which can help them reduce the symptoms or issues they're dealing with. MedCline systems are registered with the FDA, and as a medical product, MedCline systems are qualified for use with FSA and HSA funds. For anyone looking for more information, you can visit medcline.com/sleepbetter.
Welcome to the Super Dentists, where kids are the center of our universe. Serving San Diego for over 25 years, the Super Dentists offer the newest dental technologies to provide safe and comfortable treatments for the entire family. We've reimagined the entire dental experience by creating a fun and engaging atmosphere featuring our heroic dentists and award-winning super crew. Book your appointment now. Extended hours and Saturday appointments available. Call or text 855-GO-SUPER or visit thesuperdentist.com.
Thank you for joining us. Catch Scott Kaplan and Crew tonight from 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific every Monday through Friday. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk.